And welcome back to Big Bacon's Collection. We're continuing with the I no longer give a damn about a schedule. So today we're going to be looking at the G.I. Joe Classified Origins figure of yeah. If you remember the other one, the off-white one, I refer to as Ivory. I'm going to henceforth refer to this one as Ebony. They're going to be stationed side by side on the shelf, and they will be Ebony and Ivory, because this is not, I'm going to say it again, it is not. Anyways, we're going to look at his accessories. We're going to look at him, check his articulation, gear him up, and get him on the shelf. So, he comes with a sword sheath. It's done in a black and gold color that kind of almost gives it that wood grain type look, which I think is what they were going for. Peg on the back so that it can actually attach to the figure. We have a katana. Now this has the, if you've ever seen an actual katana, the point where the blade is sharpened leaves like a striation pattern. And it's actually how katanas are registered in Japan, based on the pattern of this edge. And they've tried to, I guess, mimic that with this. And for the most part, they did a pretty decent job of it. However, you can see over here on this side, I don't think the paint was fully cured before I first put it in the katana, because you can see it started to stick. So we've got this nice metallic silver on the blade. It does reflect light, as you can see. Thick back end, thinner front end, but not by much. Gold down here where it meets the crossguard. And then we've got a patterned wrapped handle, which, yeah, you can see where they tried to sculpt in like the fabric covering and the charms that are inside that wrapping. Ooh, sorry, I just sneezed really loudly. And as you can guess, the blade does. Okay, the blade is supposed to go into the sheath. Yep, Ebony just committed suicide. And it does look pretty good in there. But it's really firm. And like I said, I think that paint kind of hung up inside there. Moving on to the figure. So we've got a Great Henry Golding head. The sculpt on this is very nice. I'm going to say this, and I'm sure I'm going to get some feedback on it. This is a pretty good figure. It's just not the character that they're claiming it is. If you look here, he's got that patchy scruff pattern going on. Face paint is on there quite nicely. But he does have a case of that really shiny face syndrome. Hair is well sculpted. Don't see any major paint issues. Maybe a little bit up in this area. Looks like the paint was just kind of off on the hairline. As for the body itself, oh yeah, the paint is terrible. They oversprayed black onto everything. And I am, of course, joking because the entire thing is black. Now, what they did do is certain parts have a much duller, flatter color, and others have a shinier coloration to them. Now, to me, it seems like the armor plating would be the shinier part. But in this case, it looks like they made it like a shiny leather undersuit. with like a black Kevlar covered armor plating on it. So looking at the thing objectively, as far as paint goes, you got a little bit of silver here on the buckle. Got a little bit of red on the knees. You have an Arashikage emblem here on this bicep area. And I think that's it. The rest of it is just, like I said, some areas are hit in a higher gloss black. And the problem with that is trying to figure out whether an area was actually supposed to get that, or if it just wound up as overspray. This cross harness on the chest is a separate piece. It does come around onto the back with a hole for the sheath. Let's check out some articulation. So the head, because of this high collar, only looks up that far. Looks down only that far. Great range of motion, let me tell you. There's no tilt, but there is some rotation. The arm hinges up. See if the other side does any better. Yeah, arm does not hinge up to 90. Just shy of it. There is a butterfly joint on this figure. The arm will rotate all the way around. Bicep cuff for rotation. Double jointed elbows. Actually give it some decent range. Hands rotate. Left hand has a vertical hinge. Right hand has a vertical hinge. There is an ab crunch, which allows them to bend forward that far. Bend back that far. There is a waist ball, which allows for some tilt. A little bit of back, not really any forward, but there is rotation at that point. Drop down hip allows to kick out that far, kick out that far, kick out that far. Come forward that far. Back just a little bit because it kind of rides along the curved edge of that sculpt. Thigh cut for rotation. Double jointed knee. But because of how thickly they sculpted the thigh, that's all the range you get on it. There is no boot cut on this figure. So like Ivory up there, you don't get that lower leg rotation. Foot hinges back that far. Comes forward this far. Front facing pin for rocker. So, as I said, you can actually peg this through the strap and into the back peg hole. And yeah, that lack of 90 degrees on that arm is really hurting that range. I can get him back to it, but I can't get him on it. So we are going to modify the pose I wanted to do. That's right. I'm going to try to recreate the promotional image that they had out. But this sheath is so freaking wide, it's going to take an act of God or Congress to get his hand around it. Yeah, that thumb is just not budging. And without it moving, you're not getting it in there. So we are going to pop this onto his back. We're going to pop the sword out of it. And we're just going to have him hold it like a normal ninja would. Now, the fact that this guy did not come with any machine guns, the only other weapons he came with were 2 little fighting knives. Not overly impressed. I mean, it's a good-looking figure, but some of the lack of articulation, the lack of accessories. I mean, 2 other fighting knives that you never actually saw used at any point in the movie, and then a motorcycle helmet that was supposed to be his mask. Yeah, I'm going to just pop Ebony up here, and eventually I will rearrange it, and he will be right next to Ivory up on the shelf. In fact, I believe he will be, between Ivory and Karen. That will only leave me to review Akiko, who is an original figure, and therefore I cannot complain that she does not match the original concept for the character, and Ginger Squatch. Because for some reason, here recently, they've decided that every single G.I. Joe should be a part of the Arashikage. Okay, he's going to be a pain in the butt, so we're just going to do what we can to get him up there and worry about getting him on a stand later. So there you have him. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, comment, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch y'all next time.